I want to know your favorite to win the competition, potentially who's going to meet that team in the final. But also in these types of competitions, Sandra, there's always that surprise team, that surprise nations that steps up with their supporters and enjoys a wonderful competition. So who would be the surprise package as well? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, if you're not fired up now, I don't know what to tell you. The 2025 UEFA Women's Euros opening match day coming up on Wednesday. Matches on Fox and FS1. The host nation, Switzerland, against Norway at 3 o'clock Eastern time. But first, it's Iceland versus Finland. But look down in that bottom right-hand corner. Are you kidding me? France, England on Saturday at 3 o'clock. It's all getting started, and to break it down for us right now, Sandra Herrera from the Attacking Third podcast, and I can see that smile on your face, Sandra. How excited are you for this competition? Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. I'm absolutely amped. There's nothing like summer with soccer, and the Euros are here to deliver. I'm ready to get into it with you.
Okay, I was fascinated to see this, that Spain haven't had the success at the Euros historically that you would think, considering how good that they are. And we're going to get into the fact that their star player, Bonmatí, is dealing with a very serious health issue coming into this competition. But all that being said, are they the favorites coming into this edition of the Euros?
I think they're co-favorites. I don't want to rule out England just yet. I know there's a lot of anxiousness about how this Lioness team is going to look, considering maybe some of the missing names on the roster, but they're co-favorites for sure. I mean, it's hard to ignore what the Spanish side has done coming out of that 2023 World Cup, some of the more recent form they're in particular, some of their more individual players. There's a slew of them that made it back to a Champions League final, although they ended up as runners-up alongside Ernesto Gonzalez and NWSL, who's tearing up the league stateside. There's reason why they have so much clout around them alongside England as some favorites for this tournament.
I hate to disagree with you. You know I love to, Sandra, but according to the bookmakers, plus 200 for Spain. They're clear favourites right now. Plus 400 for the English. They're sitting in a very close position right behind. And then we have Germany plus 500 and France plus 500 as well. Just wanted to throw the odds out there because I know Nate Bukaty likes a little wager or two. But for you, Sandra, let's talk about Bonmatí. Obviously released from hospital. It looks like she's joined back up with the squad. What are you expecting? Do we get an opportunity to potentially see her in the group stage?
I don't think so. I think that's a lot of healthy optimism, saying that Bonmatí is going to be running things up in the group stage. I mean, we're talking about a pretty dangerous virus here. Meningitis is no joke. And I think this is an opportunity for me to say a little bit of shame on the Spanish Federation for just sort of operating around this as if it's nothing. I think there's been enough here in the history of this federation to say we can't always necessarily take them at their word. This is the same and that tried to ask certain favors of players to make them look in good lighting. And I'm not saying that Bonmatí is not on the mend. It's very possible that she is, but it's very unlikely that maybe she will be such a key factor in the group stage matches. I think the hope is that she's going to be rearing to go once they reach knockouts. They don't have exactly a safety, like kind of cruise control type of group, although with going up against Portugal or Italy or Belgium, they are considered to be favorites to get out of there, even without Bonmatí.
Some of the sides that Ian just pointed out there, though, it seems like there's four sides that the odds makers like the most. I want to ask about one in particular, and that's Germany. Third place in the Olympics. They've got some youth injected into that side as well, which to me always makes a team intriguing when you go into a competition like this. How seriously should we be taking Germany coming into these Euros?
Absolutely serious. I mean, they're European juggernauts for a reason, and they found themselves with a rising profile in recent years as well, to your point, Nate. I mean, these are the 2024 bronze medalists. They were the runners-up in that Euros tournament against England, and so they've got something to say. I think similar threads of the U.S. women's national team. They had a disappointing World Cup, and they wanted to maybe launch pad out of that and kind of find themselves reinvigorated as contenders and top of the world standings, and they are. I think perhaps among maybe some of the quote-unquote dark horses, they're the favorites of the dark horses. Maybe could even be considered a trio of co-favorites for this Euros tournament. They'll be the ones to maybe kind of surprise some folks along the way, folks who might be too fixated on either Spain or either England. It could be Germany that ends up running away with this thing.
France and England are favourites to finish first and second in their respective group. They take on each other on Saturday. As much as it pains me, Sandra, to talk about the English, they are a very good side. They're one of the favourites for this competition. How do you expect that group to play out? And then also, how far do you expect the English to go in this competition? Could they potentially win it?
It's difficult to win the Euros, right? And I think it's even more difficult to try to repeat. And that's what's on the table for England here. I think there's a lot of things around, a lot of different storylines and narratives around this particular team. A lot made of Mary Earps and her retirement, the retirement of Fran Kirby, the fact that, you know, there's also the withdrawal of Millie Bright. And there's always that kind of doom and gloom sort of, narrative that kind of gets around that framing. But they are in a group of death alongside France. Going to be an easy feat, but I think they will do enough and have enough. They've got a bulk of that 2022 championship winning side that can kind of push them through a very difficult group. But within that means they're going to be pretty battle tested. So maybe they run into some really kind of hard fought matches in the group stage. And maybe that means they run out of gas along the way because they are so hard pressed. But anything can happen in the tournament football, as you know. But France and England for sure consider the favorites to get out of that group.
I love the concept of this Group D, the group of death. We just saw the rankings there, and everybody's going to talk about England, France, and the Netherlands, rightfully so. Wales are 30th. You know, in the rankings. That's not a bad side. Like, that's a side that could actually play a role in this. And I always love rooting for a team like that to see if they can throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into things. Can Wales have something to say about who comes out of this group?
You know, there's nothing like a debutante side with nothing to lose and everything to gain as they get out there in their long-awaited appearance in this competition. It wasn't too long ago where we saw the Welsh men's side make a bit of history of their own and create a little bit of chaos and make some noise in a Euros tournament. And I'm sure that the women's side is going to be inspired by that. Their team captain, Arngard James, has kind of alluded as much. They said that there's a bit of self-belief that's within this roster right now, kind of generated through their head coach and Ryan Wilkinson. And the veteran and Jess Fishlock has echoed those sentiments. So they have some concerns around, I think, maybe their offense and how they'll look, but they're very organized and they're a tough opponent. So anything's possible.
I already told you that Nate likes to place a wager, and Nate also just asked me to ask you this question as well. So, Sandra, I'm going to ask for experience here because I want to know your favourite to win the competition, potentially who's going to meet that team in the final. But also, in these types of competitions, Sandra, there's always that surprise team, that surprise nations that steps up with their supporters and enjoys a wonderful competition. So who would be the surprise package as well? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. I love this kind of stuff. I'm hopeful and I'm swinging for the fences with Germany. I think they'll do enough here, kind of surprise. I think got to go good, be bold or go home, right? And I think this is the opportunity to do that. I think actually this tournament being held in Switzerland is a little bit of a neutralizer in some ways for maybe the trio of co-favorites in England and Germany and Spain. There's not really going to be that concept of like a home advantage here that the Lionesses had back in 2022. That's out the window. It's going to be a much different environment as they kind of try to navigate a repeat. So I'm going to throw some belief, we'll just say, behind Germany and that they'll maybe run away with this one.
How much have times changed? It's a dark horse to pick the 8-time champs, Germany, to win again. It's crazy stuff, but it's going to be a really good competition. Sandra, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to this competition.
Sehr gut, Sandra, sehr gut.
There you go. Have a great show, guys.
Dankeschön.
Hey, don't forget, Sandra and the crew, Attacking Third, going to have a live show on Thursday right after Spain versus Portugal. How good is that matchup, by the way? As you want to check that out, everything women's soccer, Attacking Third.